The shocking truth about choosing the lowest bid and how it could ruin your remodel.
Hello, this is the Hack Hour Podcast, a show where it's all about helping real, everyday, hard-working remodelers learn the secrets to having it all in life and business. And now, here's your host, Mike Minges.
Hey folks, welcome to the Hack Hour, the podcast where we confront the biggest challenges in home remodeling and arm you with knowledge to make the best decisions for your home in these special episodes. So I'm Mike Minges. I'm the founder of the Remodeling Academy. Over the last 15, 20 years, I've seen it all. The triumphs, the failures, and the hard lessons learned. Through those experiences, I've made it my mission to not only transform my business, but to raise the bar for this entire remodeling industry. At the Remodeling Academy, we have a clear and ambitious goal, right? We want to elevate remodeling for everyone. For homeowners like you, that means helping you feel confident and informed how to go about even hiring a contractor who won't just meet your expectations, but they'll actually exceed them. And for remodelers, we are here to ensure that they have the tools and the skills necessary to deliver exceptional results every time. So this podcast is just a critical part of that mission. And in each episode, I share the lessons from the field, what works, what doesn't. It's how to navigate this complex industry with clarity and confidence. So today we're continuing in a series that's been specially made for the homeowner. This is part 2 of that, part 3 or 4. It's several parts in that series, right? Now, give you some context. When I got started in the industry, I was fortunate enough to be early online with website design and had a very nice designed website. And a law firm out of Virginia reached out and contacted me, and they hired me as an expert witness to help with their litigation cases between disputes of homeowners and contractors. So I got a very good education early on in what causes and what makes it go wrong in the remodeling world to where the homeowner and the contractor are now suing each other. Fun, right? Here's what I learned. Almost every time it circles back. If you just dig in deeper, ask a lot of questions, do more research. On the surface level, there's all these complaints, but when you go down deeper, here's what you recognize. The homeowner went with what they thought was going to be a good decision. We got several estimates. We shopped around, and they typically went with one of the lowest or lower priced remodelers. And they did a disservice to everyone involved. And I am here to share those years of experience with you all so that you don't make the same mistakes and so that you don't end up in court. I think last year alone, there was over 30,000 cases where contractors and homeowners had a falling out and a dispute, and they end up in some sort of litigation. It's expensive. You don't want to go there. Trust me. Here's another interesting fact. Often, it's going to cost you more to even go after and sue their contractor than it's probably worth you getting. And bonus, surprise, surprise, that contractor, if you do have a really good case, they're probably just going to close up shop, declare bankruptcy, go out of business, start a new business 6 months later. And you'll be left not being able to get anything from anyone. It's a disaster. So you want to avoid it at all costs. And that's why we're here today. So we're going to start with an important question. Have you ever been told to get 3 estimates before hiring a contractor for a project? Right? It seems like logical advice on the surface. You're like, other people have done it. That's what people say I should do, right? The last report on the news said make sure you get multiple estimates. But do you know why people even say that? Do you know what it even stemmed from? How about this? Let me ask you. When your car breaks down, do you shop around? Do you have it towed to 3 different places for a quote? Or you're in a health crisis. You have some health issues. Do you call 3 different emergency rooms to see who's the cheapest? No, you don't. So, listen, when it comes to hiring a remodeler, people because they don't know what to do, they fall into the trap of what others have done. And when you follow others, you're going to get the same results. So you don't want to fall into the trap of chasing the lowest price, thinking that you're being smart, right? And prudent and cautious and educated. I'm here to tell you that that's not playing it safe. It's just a recipe for regret. So we're going to unpack where this 3 estimate idea came from, like why it often backfires, and most importantly, why you should be, like what you should be comparing when you choose a remodeler. Because there is a better way to approach this decision. There is a much better way to go about purchasing remodeling products and services, one that leads to less stress, better results, and the remodel that you're truly going to love. You want a great experience. Work with the remodeler that treats it like Disney World for you, right? Let's dive in. All right. So look, the idea of getting the 3 estimates, right, that evolved decades ago as like a basic consumer protection tip. And it was a way to help the average person just avoid overpaying, and also it was so that they could spot red flags in an era when there weren't as many ways to necessarily verify the contractor's credibility, right? We didn't have as much access to information. We couldn't look up court cases. We couldn't possibly research right online. We didn't have ways. It was harder to like call and talk to someone and drive around and look at jobs, right? So this is where it happened, right? This is the way it happened. So let's be honest. The remodeling industry has earned some trust issues. By and large, most remodelers aren't well educated in running a business. They're very good with their hands. They're good in the field. But when it comes to handling finances and contracts and making sure that they can get the ball from start to finish and get the project done the way you want, a lot of them fumble it. A lot. All right. You've heard the horror stories. I can share more with you if you feel like you haven't heard enough. Just contact me. So we don't want your contractor being the one who disappears halfway through the project or delivering you a substandard or shoddy project altogether. So here's the problem, right? What is it that you do? Like if you are focused on comparing prices, that's just going to create a false sense of security, right? You as the homeowner think you're being smart. You're like, I went to college. I have a master's. I know what I'm doing. This is what everybody does. And you think, yeah, I'm choosing the cheaper guy, right? That means I've shopped around, right? But what you're really doing is setting yourself up for disappointment. And here's why. Not all contractors are created equal. And the lowest bid comes almost always with hidden costs. Corners are cut, timelines drag on, and worst of all, the job is most likely going to be left unfinished the way you were expecting. So while it might feel good to save a few bucks up front, you're risking, right? These are high-risk decisions in the remodeling industry. Your sanity, you're risking your satisfaction, and you're risking the likelihood that you're going to get to the final result. So what you as the homeowner need to understand is hire a contractor. It's not just about comparing numbers. Look, it's about comparing the value. And value isn't just about price. It's about professionalism, communication, systems, results. Can you trust? Will the person deliver? Do they know how to deliver? Right? Ask yourself this. Do you want the guy that you hire going around and stealing the materials from other homeowners or other job sites so that they can now perform your job at that discounted price? Most likely you don't. That's what happens. Do you want your contractor driving around town? You know that part of town, like where the freeway and the underpass is and there's the homeless encampment, or where a lot of the meth and drug addicts hang out? Is that where you want your contractor going to get his labor force so that he can bring over the cheap labor because he didn't charge you enough? No, that's not where you want your labor force coming. You want to work with a contractor who has a stable, good crew, right? Guys that don't have those types of issues, and they're not going to be looking what can they steal from your house so they can get their next fix. Because if we pay them properly, they are getting paid by their boss for their work, and they don't have to steal. Do you see where I'm going with all this? I hope you understand. This is like the reality, like we're pulling back the covers on the remodeling industry. Okay, so look, here you are. You're the homeowner, and you are set on comparing contractors. You're like, I'm going to get multiple things. I'm going to look at everything. So let me give you some tools to do it the right way. Instead of focusing on price, here are some key things to look for. Number one, communication skills. Pay attention to how well the remodeler listens to you and they communicate themselves. Are they asking thoughtful questions about your project and your home? Do they understand how to make it all work together? Do they understand like your goal, what it is you really want? Why are we doing this? What is your rationale? How will you be using the space? How do you envision it, right? If it's a kitchen remodel, how many people will be cooking? Will you be cooking? Do you cook a lot? What type of meals do you cook? Right? All these things go into account. So, do they take the time to educate you about the remodeling process overall and in general? Are they educated enough to understand time frames and allowing for things like budgeting, zoning, getting permitting, getting inspections, it is when you're trying to navigate multiple trades because you have all the mechanical updates that your house is going to need, right? All these things are about having a good process. And are they taking the time to make sure that you understand that? So communication's everything in remodeling. You are going to be married to this contractors and their company for several weeks or months. So you want to make sure it's someone who can communicate with you and let you know what's going on, when it's going on, how it's going. All right? And if they can't communicate well in the beginning, it's not going to improve later. If they're having trouble following up with you now and showing up on time for just the basic first few appointments, guys, that's a red flag. That's going to be worse down the road once they've actually got the job. Okay, look for like professional appearance. And here's what I mean. They don't have to have a brand new vehicle, but is the vehicle in general, is it in decent shape, right? Or does it look like it was in a train wreck? If the person's vehicle is just destroyed, if they're all disheveled, how in the world can you expect them to come into your house and treat it with kit gloves, right? And just make everything just perfect. That's not them, right? You want to look for someone who can dress well, is presentable, right? And takes care of things, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. And if you want to make sure that your house is well taken care of and that you're getting a nice clean job site and a nice professional product at the end, then you have to look for the person who delivers that from day one. Okay, was the remodeler or contractor, are they constantly distracted by their phone or other things like squirrel? No, you want to look for someone who can focus, because it's so important that a contractor understands the details. There are just numerous moving parts and so many variables in this industry that you can't have someone who flakes out on you constantly, okay? So a professional remodeler is going to respect your time and give you their full attention. All right. Is it a client-focused process, right? Great remodelers aren't just looking for any job. Think about this. If your remodeler's not interviewing you to see if they even want to work for you, that's a problem, okay? They shouldn't be so desperate that they're taking any job, or they shouldn't be out there just throwing hooks and just saying, who can we lure in with this cheap price? No, you want the contractor that goes, look, we can only do X amount of jobs this year, and we make sure that we're a good fit. We want to be a good fit for the homeowner. We want the homeowner to be a good fit for us. So there should be an interview process between both parties. Make sure that they're asking the right questions. Make sure that you're asking the right questions, right? That's a sign of a remodeler who's serious about delivering the results and one that wants to maintain their reputation. Now, what about systems and processes? Do they matter? Yes, they do. And here's why. There are so many complexities and so many variables and so many things that go into remodeling that you need things well written and explained. Because here's what happens most of the time. Whoever you're actually talking to about the project is going to have a team that they work with. Whether they come on site or not isn't so important. It's how well can that person transfer the information to their whole team, right? How well are they explaining to get your permit at the county building? How well are they explaining to the vendor the type of materials that they're going to need? How well do they explain to their staff, their employees, their subcontractors, right? Do they have everything written down so that they can just hand a job site packet over to someone else? What if your remodeler gets sick, gets in a car accident, right? Who is going to be able to take the documentation and move on with it and help finish the job? These are all important things. So you need a well-written agreement. You need a scope of work. You need change order process, right? You need a linked schedule that shows what has to be done in what order and how long that takes so that then we can have the next thing. And if we're trying to put in cabinets in 3 weeks, we better damn sure have made they got ordered 8 weeks ago, because it takes at least 6 weeks to get the kitchen cabinets. Do you see where I'm going? You don't want the guy who recognizes that we're trying to put kitchen cabinets in next week and still hasn't ordered them. So now your project's on hold for a month and a half. I think you get the picture. Okay. So a contractor with strong systems and a process will deliver the smoother, organized, consistent, great consumer experience for you. All right, finally, look for reputation, credentials, right? Every area is going to be a little bit different about what's required by law, but in general, a remodeler who takes time to invest in themselves, if they've done some sort of coursework, continuing education, they have some sort of a certification, if they have some good testimonials, they should have a nice portfolio, right? If they are a member of something like our organization, the Remodeling Academy and the Renegade Remodelers Program, those are the things you want to look for. That lets you know that you're dealing with a professional, someone who's invested in themselves and wants to deliver the best possible experience and product. That's what you need. Okay, so if you do get multiple estimates, just remember, the remodeler who communicates well, shows up on time, and has a proven process is worth more than the one who's the cheapest. Because here's the thing, the professional has truly accounted for everything that's really required to get the job done, whereas the cheapest, they don't know. They're just guessing. And then they're going to come to you in 2 weeks and tell you that they didn't charge you enough. And you're going to start just adding on more and more and more. And you know what? They're not even capable of giving you the best product, but it's going to end up costing more than what it was supposed to because they didn't get it right the first time. Okay, so what if you're approach this hiring a remodeler differently in the future, because now you're educated, you've listened to this podcast. All right, so instead of falling for that trap of the lowest price, you now are focused on finding the remodeler who prioritizes your experiences, listens to your goal, and has a system in place that's going to deliver that exceptional result, right? So here's my challenge to you. The next time you're looking for a remodeler, just don't compare price. Compare the value. Look for the personality, the person that you know that you can depend on and you know will handle the unexpected and will be able to overcome the problems that arise, because that is the nature of the business. There's just too many variables and too many interchangeable and moving parts. Problems will arise, so you want the person who knows how to get past them. Perfect. All right. Now, make sure you find the person that you feel confident and listen to, right? All these things. So again, remember that cheapest bid is going to cost you far more in the long run. It's going to be emotionally draining, financially draining, and the quality of your remodel is going to suffer. Don't fall for the trap, okay? Guys, I can't tell you how many examples I even have personally of homeowners who we would give a bid to. They wouldn't hire us because we, in their eyes, were more expensive. They hired someone else. That project failed. It was a disaster. And then we got a call back to come reevaluate the job and bid it a second time potentially, right? And now what we found almost the majority of the time, it costs even more now because of all the problems that were caused from the other person. So you thought it was bad before and you were like, well, we couldn't afford them then. And now look how much it costs. Do you see where I'm going with this? Most of the time, if the price is too high, it means that you have too much in your cart. Think about this. You have $100 to go grocery shopping. You walk through the store and you see everything you like. Like, I want some of that. I want 3 of these. I want that. You pile it all into the cart. You go up to the cashier and it's $200. What do? Do you say to them, that's too expensive. Give me a discount. I'm only going to pay $100. No, you take things out of the cart. You put too much in. Same thing happens in remodeling. Oftentimes you've watched some HGTV shows and you piled on too many things. And that's why the price is real high. A good remodeler is going to inform you that, hey guys, let's scale back some things. Let's take some things off the wish list. That's how we get the price to the budget that you want to work with, right? You lower the price because you're lowering what you're asking to be done, not looking for the person who's going to cut every corner to try to get you there. Okay. So please visit our website. Go to renegaderemodeler.com. go to the Remodeling Academy. You want to look for things like our Consumer's Guide to Home Remodeling. We have multiple resources. Some are free, some have a purchase price. All of them will educate and give you the foundation so that you know what you're doing and you know that you can confidently go through the process of finding a contractor, hiring the contractor, right? You know how to purchase remodeling services. That's what we will help educate you on. This way, you know you get it right. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 23 of the Hack Hour podcast. And until next time, if you come back, remember, it's not about the cheapest remodeler. It's about the right remodeler. So we look forward to talking to you then. We would love for you to like this episode, subscribe, and share it with anyone else so that more people will have an amazing experience with their contractor and with remodeling in general. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Hack Hour podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave us a quick review on iTunes. To further your remodeling success, go to remodelingriches.com.